In the heart of the Holy Roman Empire, rising above the bustling medieval city of Nuremberg, stood the imposing Nuremberg Castle, a fortress of stone, history, and legend. Its towers and ramparts had witnessed the march of emperors, the clamor of armies, and the passage of centuries. But among the many tales whispered within its ancient halls, none captured the imagination quite like the story of the Iron Man. It was the 16th century, a time of shifting powers, religious upheaval, and relentless curiosity. The castle itself was a symbol of authority, a place where rulers convened and justice was dispensed. Merchants and craftsmen thrived in the city below, their livelihoods intertwined with the fortunes of the fortress above. Within these walls, the extraordinary was woven into the fabric of everyday life. Yet even in such a storied place, the arrival of the Iron Man was met with astonishment and fear. No one knew from where he had come. Some claimed he appeared on a mist-shrouded dawn, standing before the great gates as if conjured from the earth itself. Others whispered that he had been found wandering the nearby forests, his heavy armored form a silent apparition among the trees. What all agreed upon was his extraordinary appearance. The knight was sheathed from head to toe in a suit of iron, masterfully crafted and tightly fitted, as though the armor had been made for its occupant and none other. Not a sliver of flesh was visible, only the cold gleam of metal, the silent, watchful eye slits, and the ponderous footsteps that echoed through the stone corridors. He never spoke. Not a word escaped his lips, nor a gesture betrayed his thoughts. When addressed, he inclined his head in acknowledgement, but offered no reply. Servants and guards speculated that perhaps he had taken a vow of silence, or that he had been struck mute by some terrible trauma. Some wondered if he was even alive at all, or if he was a spirit bound by ancient magic to the suit he wore. Children peered at him from behind pillars, their imaginations running wild with tales of cursed knights and enchanted warriors. Despite his silence, the Iron Man became a fixture at the castle. He walked its battlements at dusk, his armor glinting in the fading sun. He stood sentinel in the great halls during feasts and ceremonies, an unmoving guardian whose presence both reassured and unsettled. On holy days, he knelt in the chapel, his armored form rigid in prayer. No one ever saw him eat or drink, nor did anyone witness him remove his helmet or gauntlets. To some, this was proof of his supernatural nature. To others, it was simply another layer of the mystery. Rumors flourished. Some claimed he was a disgraced nobleman, punished for his crimes by being sealed in his armor. Others insisted he was a foreign emissary, hiding his identity for reasons of state. There were those who believed he was a revenant, returned from the dead to fulfill an unfinished quest. The boldest tales spun stories of alchemists and sorcerers who had forged the armor to contain a restless spirit or to protect its wearer from mortal harm. Yet for all the speculation, the truth remained elusive. Years passed, and the Iron Man's legend grew. Generations of castle dwellers came to accept his presence as a fact of life. He was both a curiosity and a warning, a reminder that some secrets were better left unspoken. Children dared one another to touch the hem of his cloak or to peer into the dark voids of his visor. Some swore they heard whispers emanating from within the armor, while others insisted his eyes glowed with an unearthly light. But none ever saw the man beneath the metal. One cruel winter, the Iron Man's routine changed. He no longer appeared at his usual stations, nor was he seen patrolling the battlements. Days turned to weeks, and concern grew among the castle's inhabitants. Finally, a group of guards, emboldened by curiosity and fear, ventured to his quarters. They found him seated in a chair, motionless as ever, his hands resting on the arms and his head bowed as if in contemplation. At first, they hesitated. To disturb the Iron Man seemed sacrilegious, but as the days wore on and he did not move, it became clear that something was amiss. The castle authorities assembled, and after much deliberation, they resolved to open the armor. It was an arduous task. The suit had no visible seams or clasps, and it took hours to pry the plates apart. The metal had fused in places, as though welded shut by time itself. At last, they succeeded. As the final piece of armor was removed, a collective gasp echoed through the chamber. Inside the suit was not the body of a man, but a skeleton. The bones were brittle and yellowed with age, the skull grinning in eternal silence. There were no clues to his identity, no signet ring, no letter, no token to reveal who he had been in life. All that remained was the iron shell and the bones within. The discovery sent shockwaves through Nuremberg. The city buzzed with speculation and fear. How long had the Iron Man been dead? Had he ever been alive at all, or was the armor itself animated by some spectral force? Why had no one noticed the change? Theories abounded, each more fantastic than the last. Some claimed the Iron Man had been a martyr, sealed in his armor as punishment or protection. Others believed he was the victim of a terrible curse, doomed to linger in the castle until his secret was uncovered. Yet for all the wild conjecture, one truth could not be denied. The Iron Man's identity remained a mystery. No records existed of his arrival, and no one could recall seeing his face. His name, his origin, and his purpose were lost to history, swallowed by the mists of time. Over the years, the legend of the Iron Man took on a life of its own. Poets and chroniclers wove his story into their works, embellishing and expanding the tale with each retelling. Some described him as a noble knight who had sacrificed everything for his honor, while others painted him as a tragic figure, betrayed and forgotten by those he had served. Artists depicted him standing guard over the city, a silent protector whose watch never ceased. The castle itself became a place of pilgrimage for those drawn to the story. Visitors came from across Europe to see the suit of armor, which was displayed in a chamber lit by flickering torches. Some claimed to feel a chill in the air as they approached, and a few even reported hearing faint footsteps echoing in the corridor behind them. The Iron Man's presence lingered, an indelible part of the castle's legacy. As the centuries passed, the story evolved. In the Age of Enlightenment, scholars tried to unravel the mystery using logic and science. They examined the armor, noting its craftsmanship and style. Some suggested it had been made in Italy, while others argued for a German origin. The bones were studied, measured, and cataloged, but no definitive answers emerged. The Iron Man remained an enigma, his secret defying the advances of knowledge and reason. In modern times, the tale has inspired historians, writers, and filmmakers alike. Some see in the Iron Man a metaphor for the unknowable past, the idea that some truths are forever beyond our grasp. Others view him as a symbol of human curiosity, the relentless drive to uncover what is hidden. His story serves as a reminder that history is not merely a collection of facts, but a tapestry of mysteries, legends, and dreams. But beyond the speculation and the scholarship, the enduring power of the Iron Man's story lies in its ability to captivate the imagination. There is something profoundly haunting about the image of a man encased in iron, walking the halls of a fortress, his face unseen and his voice unheard. We are drawn to the mystery, compelled to fill in the gaps with our own hopes and fears. We wonder about his life, what joys and sorrows he knew, what brought him to the castle, and what compelled him to don the suit that would become his tomb. Perhaps he was a knight-errant, seeking redemption for some past transgression. Perhaps he was a guardian, sworn to protect a secret so great that it demanded the ultimate sacrifice. Or perhaps he was simply a man caught in the currents of history, whose fate became legend through the passage of time. The Iron Man's story also invites us to reflect on the nature of identity and memory. Encased in his suit, he was both present and absent, visible to all, yet unknowable. His silence was a barrier that separated him from the world, yet it also made him a canvas onto which others projected their own stories. In this way, he became a mirror for the hopes, fears, and fantasies of those who encountered him. There is a lesson in this for all who seek to understand the past. History is not a fixed narrative, but a living dialogue between the present and the past. The stories we tell reflect not only what happened, but also what we wish to believe. In the case of the Iron Man, the absence of answers has only fueled the imagination, turning a silent figure into a legend that endures across the ages. Today, as visitors climb the winding paths to Nuremberg Castle and gaze upon its ancient stones, they may still sense the presence of the Iron Man. His story lingers in the air, woven into the very fabric of the fortress. He is both a relic and a riddle, a testament to the enduring power of mystery. And so, the fate of the Iron Man remains unresolved. His bones have long since turned to dust, and his armor sits silent in a museum display. Yet his legend endures, whispered in the corridors of the castle and retold around the fires of those who love a good mystery. In a world that often demands answers, the Iron Man reminds us that some questions are meant to remain unanswered, their allure lying in the shadows they cast. Perhaps that is as it should be, for in the end, the Iron Man's greatest legacy is not the mystery of his identity, but the inspiration he provides to those who seek to uncover the hidden stories of the past. His silent vigil continues, not just in the stone halls of Nuremberg Castle, but in the hearts and minds of all who are captivated by the enduring allure of the unknown. As the sun sets behind the ancient walls, casting long shadows across the courtyard, one can almost imagine the Iron Man standing watch, his gaze fixed on the horizon, waiting for the day when his secret might finally be revealed. Or perhaps, content to remain forever a mystery, a silent guardian of the castle's many tales. For in the story of the Iron Man, we find not only the echoes of a bygone age, but the eternal human fascination with the enigmatic, the unexplained, and the wondrously strange.